Okay, guys, sorry about that. We had a little bit of a problem here, interruption of the service, and
And I kept talking to myself apparently for what, 5 or 6 minutes.
yeah, and we lost the stream, and now we're back. So
Yeah. I where did we get up to? IT professional, I think was the word I got up
yeah,
to.
we were talking about IT professional,
Yeah, and I think you were saying,
and
Brian, it's not just coders, right? It's also, the architects, the installers, even the IT sales. So, being able to sell software as a service and being able to manage portfolios of clients as their like account manager. These are all types of IT jobs. The one thing that I wanted to say is it is a sought after job and there's definitely a demand for it. So if you are interested in IT, you probably already know these things. However, one thing for those of you guys who are coming to Japan that you might not be aware of, and this is just a general rule of thumb, is there is a lot of, from what I am aware of, a lot of paying your dues early on. So if you want that comfortable, 9 to 5, for example, you're unlikely to find it in IT, especially in your first year, maybe even your first couple of years. You're going to be working really weird shift-like hours. So get comfortable with that. And if you can get comfortable with that, you'll probably go ahead really quickly in IT in Japan. But if you're someone that's like, no, I want my strict 9 to 5. I want my weekends. It's going to be a little hard in Japan, is what I've heard from people who do IT.
right,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, but I
And
mean, look at that salary though. If you guys can do it and you're prepared for that, you're going to be paid well for it. So,
right,
hmm.
I
and
seem to have lost Rhys
oh, can
on the
can you hear me
screen
though?
top or
Oh,
screen
that's okay.
here. I'm
As
trying to
long as you
find
guys,
you.
as long as you guys can hear me, I think.
I think they can hear you. I don't
Okay,
think that they can see you is
that's
the
all right.
issue,
Oh,
right? And so I'm going to just remove both of these real quick,
all right.
and I'm
Um,
going to add it back in.
okay. Um, while you're doing that, Brian, I think we'll continue moving on. Now, these next last five, I will preface by saying this is where we're starting to get to the higher level. Like the chances are that
Okay, you're
you're
back.
going to great. So the chances are for these last five that you're going
Yeah,
to need some sort of postgraduate type study and probably experience to do. But if you do have it, you can look to get into these jobs. So
right.
at number five, we got business analyst. Brian, you want
Business
to tell us about
analyst,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. You want to tell us a bit about this one?
A business analyst is going to be doing things involving planning
Mm.
and analyzing other businesses.
Hmm.
And big thing is merger and acquisition,
Yeah,
M&A.
M&A. Yeah.
And so they'll probably be looking for analysts with M&A experience overseas who
Mm.
had, helped process an M&A before, because Japanese companies will buy overseas companies and vice versa.
Mm.
And, that process is a complicated process. And there's also a lot of think tanks and
Mm.
other types of research institutes that are going to do research overseas and need a foreign researcher.
I think that's
And
almost number four, actually. That's sort of moving into four, which is the risk
four is an
analysis.
insurance function.
Oh, I
I think
see.
a
I get
risk
you.
analyst
Okay.
deals with
More insurance.
insurance, right?
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would say along in that area, like 4 and 5, like a guy I know is a lawyer,
Mm,
and that's not on our list, but he's from
no.
Germany or he's from Belgium, and he's German. His native language is German, and he's a lawyer in Germany,
Mm.
and his company sent him over here because
Oh, I
he's a
see.
lawyer in a very, very narrow field,
Mm,
right? Very narrow field. And I met a couple guys. I knew a guy who was a business analyst. He's an Australian guy,
Mm,
and he was in metals and ores.
metals and ores, yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds
which is
about
of
right.
course big in Australia,
Yeah.
right? But he was an analyst for, commodities and raw, metals and ores. Yeah. I
Mm.
actually sold a contract once to a raw company that was cocoa importing, and they
All right.
had a business analyst who was foreign, and
Uh,
their analyst was you know constantly researching the cocoa market.
yeah, it's a
Now
big
it's
market.
weird because I got the contact online, and they're a foreign subsidiary, so the president of the company is a foreigner. And so I went over there and I talked to him, and he said, "Can you arrange some English classes for my staff?" And yeah, sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, they were cocoa importing. So there's every type of company out there, right? And just because you might find yourself doing cocoa importing, right? But that's a very important thing. People love it, and
yeah,
that's business. It makes money. So
yep, it does.
yeah,
And
and that's how you get
moving on,
paid.
to our last
Yeah.
three. Three, mechanic. I'm going to hazard a guess that when we wrote this article, we're probably referring more to, as it says here, more like plane mechanics than your regular run-of-the-mill car mechanic.
Yeah, you better be working on Maseratis
Yeah, or something to get that
and
type of salary.
BMWs and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and for that much money. Um,
Yeah.
but I think in mechanic, they mean things mechanical.
Yeah. Okay. In the
So
most literal sense. Yeah.
we've seen before things like plant operators,
That's true.
things dealing with manufacturing plants
Mm,
and, how complex manufacturing machinery works.
mm,
And,
that's right.
I think the one that we had was dealing with, another one we had was dealing with elevators.
That's right.
They
Yeah, I
were
remember that one
manufacturing
too.
elevators and
That's right.
cranes.
Yeah.
And
There was
so,
glass as well. There was a glass
yeah, glass.
manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a lot of different things like that are mechanical in nature. So basically, they mean a scientist, a production oriented scientist or engineer,
Naるほど.
right? Which I think is
Mm.
different than number eight, engineer.
Yeah, yeah. All of these, like past five, are very specialized.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
scientific one,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
Number two, doctor.
Yeah,
Now, there are foreign doctors here in Japan.
yes, there are.
Yes, and if you are a doctor and you are lucky enough to know Japanese, you can get qualified to practice particular fields of medicine.
Right,
Yeah, and it's from what I can see, it is quite lucrative.
right.
Yeah. Um, I don't know what else you can say. I think we all know what doctors are, and can
Yeah,
imagine what the hours are going to be like.
yeah. I,
Yeah.
I had a friend that went to medical school here,
Mm,
and she couldn't get licensed.
really?
No,
No.
for some reason. Like, she didn't have permanent residency, or
Oh.
she didn't have some other licensing or credentialing overseas. I think you have to be like board certified in your
Oh,
country.
I see.
You have to have a specialization. And so she was telling me, like, yeah, I go and I do um, like clinical rounds and I
Mhm.
observe, but I don't touch the patients.
Okay, I
And she got
see.
her MD. She got her
Wow.
MD without ever touching a patient, right? But her specialty is actually infectious diseases. and now she's back in Canada, and
Oh,
she was here studying TB, tuberculosis,
yep, there's
which
a big
is
problem.
making a comeback
No way.
in Japan. Yeah, totally.
There's a topic we should talk about another
Yeah,
time. Japan and the history of TV. Yeah.
you know, and so she's quite busy now in Canada because she's in the government,
Mm,
helping them with their disease policy. So, they're quite busy.
great. Good on her.
So, and
Um,
she got a scholarship, full scholarship to go to Tohoku University Medical School, by the way, from being an ALT,
yeah,
right?
it does happen.
I I don't know. Some people complain and say like, "Oh, ALT was a dead end, blah blah blah." But I'm like, did you try to get a scholarship? Did you try to go
Yeah.
to medical school? Did you try to do something? I was an ALT.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was an ALT.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Like,
lot of
do
success stories.
something.
Do something.
Do
I will.
something. That's
Yeah.
it. That's my 2 words of advice.
Do something. Yeah.
Yeah, anything.
Yep. And if you can't do something in Tokyo, maybe you can do something in another city. Like I think
Yeah,
a lot of us get too tied down to cities, especially guys if you don't have a family. Like I mean, if there's
she had
no,
a family.
well, she did,
She
and she
had a
still did it.
husband and a kid, and she moved them up to Sendai,
All
and they were
right
there
then.
for 4 years while
Yeah.
she got her MD.
Yeah. Well done.
So, you know, like where there's a will, there's a way,
I think so. I guess
right?
I have maybe a little more sympathy for the people that do have families, but guys, if you're single and you're in your 20s and you've done ALT for 3 years and you're sort of wondering what can I do? Oh, this is awful. I say it with love. That's on you, my friend. You need to work out what you're going to do
Yeah,
about it. You know.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I started the kind of digital marketing stuff that I'm doing now
mm,
on the side when I was in ALT.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And
I
you'll have.
started learning the basics
Yep,
of, what I'm doing now
yep,
back then.
yep.
Kind of by
Yeah,
accident, but
yeah. That
yeah.
I know part of the details of that story, but we probably
Yeah.
can't share it here.
Exactly.
But
I'm not
it's
gonna,
a very
yeah.
funny story.
It's
Yeah,
funny, but
yeah.
you know,
Probably can't talk about it here. But
yeah, we can't talk about it.
anyway,
And banker,
yeah. I mean, this probably goes without saying.
right?
Yes, bankers in Japan also make a lot of money. One of the particular sectors that we have advertised before, and it's sort of in the realm of finance, is what are they called? Um, what are they called? Internal investments. What is that called again? Um, Investor relations. That's it. Sorry, investor relations.
IR, yeah.
IR. Sorry, that's what I was thinking. Um, if you're in IR in Japan, you're probably going to make a lot of money. IR
In
is
a
a very
bank, yeah.
in a bank. Yeah, IR is a very hot job. Um,
If you're in IR in a company,
yeah,
so if you're in just some company and you're in the IR, you're in charge of the IR, you're going to be more around number 7, sales and marketing, I think.
yeah. If you're in financial IR though, like if you could get a job with Citi or something like
Yeah,
that,
that's the
you're,
Citibank or
yeah,
HSBC or one of those places. Yeah,
you're probably going to get something like this.
yeah. I know a guy who was Citi.
Oh, really? In
Yeah,
Japan?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
A shout out to them.
yeah.
Cool,
So,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah,
course, bankers. That goes without saying, really. Like the amount of money they're going to make.
yeah.
Um,
Mm,
but yeah, this is the scale, basically. Like it's an average, but
it
you
is.
can, you know, e- evolve yourself up this scale, basically. How far up the scale? It's entirely up to you, right?
Yeah,
Do you want to start at 11 and get to 7? I know lots of people who did that.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things we're trying to do here at LJC is get people to level 7 there, right? Or
I think
6,
I
you
think
know.
that's such a good point, Brian, and maybe that's the key point that I sort of want to start wrapping this up on is exactly that. You know, a lot of recruiting agencies, and I'm not saying this is wrong, tend to focus more on, I'd say, the seven down, particularly those 5-4-3, 5-4, maybe 5 and 4. But for us guys, we cover the whole gamut. Of
Yeah.
course, we're happy to work with the 7 through to 1. We do get those positions, but what we're really passionate about is trying to get that sort of 11 and 10, and those 9, 8s, and 7s
Right.
up to the next level. That's what we're really passionate about.
Right.
That's more our focus.
Yeah,
So
I'd rather you come to us and go up one
yeah,
level
yeah,
than
exactly.
come to us and go up, 5 levels,
Yeah,
because it's probably more realistic for you.
and we have done it. I can think of a couple of clients and candidates that were just great matches that
Yeah.
did that. But even going up one level
Mm.
is an achievement here in Japan. Like guys,
Yeah.
this is another thing. The salary in Japan is very different to home. You're
Right.
not going to
We were
see
going to
big
talk about
jumps.
that. So
We were going to talk about that. Are we
I,
going to talk about that now or another
yeah,
time?
that's fine. I think that uh, when you look at Japan as a whole and you realize that the average household income
Mm,
is 4.7 million, which puts them right between 8 and 9,
yeah,
right?
as a household.
Household, the whole
Yeah,
household. So
yeah,
maybe two income earners,
yep,
right? Maybe one income earner working a full time, one working a part time,
yep,
or two full times, right? And there's a lot of cases where the husband and wife both work full time and kids go to school or whatever. And, their average is 4.7 as a household, right? And that's where middle class is as a household, right? So a single person graduating from university, joining a company, they're going to start off around 11, even lower, even lower. If there was a 12, they would start off there, right? And then they go up, you know,
hmm.
and
Over
not
time.
over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Japanese earning like curve is supposed to be at its greatest like in your 50s when your kids are going to college and stuff, traditionally,
Hmm.
right? Now, I think that that's changing,
Hmm.
and I think that you can change that if you want,
Hmm.
right, as
Because
well.
these are all averages. These are averages,
These are
guys.
averages, yeah.
You could be the one
You
if
could
you
be the
apply
one.
yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sure. Um, so,
Hmm. Yeah.
overseas, people have a mistake of looking
Hmm.
at the salaries from the perspective of America or Australia or the UK. And I see
Hmm.
these comments all the time. People in America, they write on an ad, why would I go work there when I can make that at Walmart, right? Australians, they write, why would I go there when I can make that on welfare, right?
Oh, that's
British
as an
people,
Australian, I heard.
British people, very interesting.
Hmm.
Almost universally, British people don't seem to care about the salary as much.
Hmm.
Yeah. The
Well
kind
done.
of British person, and this is my opinion, you could, if you're a different British person, you can, disagree, leave a comment.
Yeah. Leave a
I'm
comment.
welcome to debate. They go, wow, what a great experience this might be,
Hmm.
you know. And I don't think that they are so hung up on the salary versus the experience.
That's probably the best attitude to have if it's your first time coming to Japan, in all honesty.
Yeah,
That's probably
definitely.
yeah, probably a good
So, but the
expectation.
problem comes when
Yep.
you're looking at it in the window of your home country,
Mm,
right? And not in the window of Japan.
yeah, yeah. The
In
cost
the
of
window of
living.
Japan, the salary is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
It might even be good.
I mean, you pay rent over here monthly. I know in Australia it's weekly usually. So that's one thing that, is like, oh, that's nice. You pay monthly.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been looking at actually rents comparatively in
Mm,
some areas, and if you're not in Tokyo, even if you're in Yokohama,
mm.
it's cheaper. If you're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Chiba, where I am,
yeah.
it's cheaper. But if you're in somewhere like Sendai or Sapporo or Fukuoka, 40% cheaper, 60% cheaper than
Mm.
Tokyo, the rent.
Oh, the
So,
dream. Yeah.
well, nowadays a lot of companies are remote or semi-remote, and there's not anything really stopping someone from living in Okayama, working for a
Mm.
company in Tokyo,
No.
when they only have to go to the office twice a month or something.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
not
All right.
really. Or same with Sendai as well.
Maybe we're running out of time, Brian.
Yeah.
Maybe we can check the comments and we'll wrap it up for today, guys.
Yeah, let's see what we've got in the comments here, if any. Got to refresh the page. Yeah, I'm really sorry about the technical problem earlier, guys. Um,
Yeah, the internet from homes are not as strong as
it's
the
not only
office.
the internet. Actually,
Yeah.
what was happening is my PC,
Mm,
that the broadcasting software is
mm,
running on,
mm.
it just overloaded,
It's
to
just
be honest.
there was just too much exciting information, and the computer
Yeah,
crashed itself.
exactly. So let's see for part one here. Was there anything? It's kind of slow to load up. It's not loading the comments up yet. Guys, make sure to go to our page,
Yeah.
linkjapancareers.net, and also follow us um, on social media. We have a couple things here. Prince Will Mua, please a link to apply. It's on our page at the top. It says apply now. All right, we'll send you a message after. And Albert D. Arisgado says, do you have any vacancy in Niigata? Off the top of my head, no, not right now. We have in most other, some nearby prefectures like Toyama and Nagano and stuff like that. Um, Again, I'll look it up and I'll get the message to you. And this one that we're on right now, let's see here if we have any comments.
We do. We've got one from a Daniel Carr. The
Hmm.
problem at the moment is the language barrier. Yeah, Daniel. Look, the language barrier. It is a thing that can sort of be really difficult. Particularly we find that a lot of the clients we have tend to initially think they need a speaker that has a much higher ability than they actually do. But if you can sort of start working to just a conversational level, I think it opens a lot of doors, particularly if you work with a recruiting agency like ourselves, because it's a lot easier for us to sort of go in swinging for you and sort of do those sort of soft power plays. Um, if you are sort of, really just completely new to the whole Japanese thing, um, I would just say study as much as you can
Yep.
and really prioritize speaking over studying. And what I mean by that is you can study for hours and hours and hours to pass your JLPT. And you can even look at the amount of hours that you're going to need to pass each level of the JLPT. But at the end of the day, there are people that have their JLPTs that can't speak at all. And
Yeah, I
yeah, go on, Brian.
I never studied for the JLPT.
Yeah,
I have N2,
I've got an N2 too.
but I
Too.
never studied.
No.
I have no Japanese degree, nothing. I just talked to a lot of people for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. And and yeah.
I'm kind of like Tarzan in a way. I'm not 100% illiterate. I can read. My handwriting is not so great. but I mostly do most of my writing on a computer, anyways.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one thing I noticed, with language students, particularly. You know, you guys learn a lot of Japanese and you write in the grids, and unbelievably, what such a valuable skill. But once you get into university or you get into a company, you're unlikely to ever write Japanese by hand. I can't really think of many situations where you will, but you will find that you'll type it all the time. And
Right.
if you can read that level, then you're going to have beautiful Japanese that the Japanese people will love, and the Japanese people do love beautiful emails. That has been something that I've learned.
Yep.
They like. Um, cool. I think that's all the questions we have today. Thank you for your
We'll have to
questions.
do another episode about Japanese,
We really should.
about how to learn it and what to do and so
Yeah,
on.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's a good topic. There's a lot
Language
of conversation.
realism, like people be honest with yourself about it. And
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say is don't lie about your ability.
yeah,
Don't just be honest. If you're like, well, I think I'm an N2, do you really? And if you aren't, that's okay. Work towards it, but don't just
yeah,
say that because you're gonna just kid yourself. Mm,
you'll be in over your head.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, guys, well, we're going to wrap it up here for part two. Thanks for sticking with us. And sorry about the technical difficulty in the middle. Make sure you drop by our site, linkjapancareers.net. See us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
yes, yes. Gonna
Yes.
do more with YouTube now.
Yeah. And we'll be back next time.
See you then, guys.
See you then.